My name is Michael, and this is how I went from struggling to do real estate to doing over 24 deals in just 1 year through a business I call virtual wealth flipping. Now, I was struggling trying to do wholesale deals while working as an IT project manager, making a great six-figure income, but I was living paycheck to paycheck, and I was struggling, didn't even have any saved. But now I've built over 5 million real estate portfolio, flipping property from my laptop. Now, I don't always like talking about my success, as I worry it might seem arrogant, or especially to those who don't know me well, but I believe my story can help offer some valuable lessons, especially for aspiring real estate investors who want to build wealth without traditional barriers. So here's my journey from struggling as a wholesaler trying to figure things out to a real estate investor who's generating over $40,000 a month in consistent profits in just 2 years. So early on when I first started out in real estate investing, the challenges that I faced both financially and execution. From an income perspective, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I didn't really understand wealth building. I didn't really understand how to make a profit. I didn't really understand how to look at a property and determine what the ARV was or how much money I needed to put into it. And this gave me some anxiety, some anxiety. Sometimes I would tell my friends and make up excuses about not being able to hang out because I didn't have excess cash to spend. Or when I went shopping, I was always looking at prices, even driving extra to go to a gas station that offered cheaper gas. And I didn't like that feeling, especially when I had purchased my new home and I looked at that new mortgage amount that I owed every month. I really needed to buckle down and something needed to change. And early on in real estate investing, I struggled. Cold calling, I fumbled with my words, I didn't sound confident, I wasn't sure about being able to really help people. And I heard about the challenges that they had. There were just a lot of issues. Traditional investments, there were some struggles as well. I didn't really feel comfortable with being able to read stocks. My wife was getting on me, wanting me to put that little side thing away and really focus on my career. But I wasn't happy there. And I felt as though that looking at what everyone else was doing in my current career level and how long it would take to move up, it just wasn't ideal for me. So early on, it was real tough. So early on, before I got into real estate, I was working as a IT project manager. It was my first IT project management role. It was a career shift from social work that was brand new to me. And at the time, I had seen an ad on YouTube about online marketing, making money online. I always had an entrepreneur spirit. So I moved forward, I invested, and I started learning digital marketing. And more specifically, I started learning how to help software and IT companies generate leads online. And this was something I was doing part-time while I was working my 9 to 5. And I started to see some success. Started to generate revenue of about 10K per month. Thought I was the smartest person in the room. I thought I was on my way. I went out and bought a new car and things were going well. And I started to invest so much time in that I started to neglect my 9 to 5. Well, I wasn't performing up to par. They eventually let me go at the 9 to 5. And it was one of the scariest and exciting times of my life because now I was a full-blown entrepreneur. And this was before I even found out about virtual wealth flipping or did anything in real estate. I started to struggle after year 2. I wasn't able to sustain the revenue that was coming in. I was doing a lot of work. I was marketing for my own clients. I was closing my own clients and I was implementing for my clients. And it was a lot. It began to really put a damper on my relationship because I was always working, which is a lot. And once it started to decline, no money was coming in and more money was coming out. I really had to humble myself and go back and get another 9 to 5, which was humbling and probably one of the best things that have happened to me. But because of that, I then kind of understood exactly what I wanted. And so I strategically got a role that allowed me to work remotely. And this was with a Fortune 500 company doing IT project management again. And this time I was like, okay, let me give real estate a shot. My brother had told me I could probably do good at it because I've had some of that digital marketing background. And I said, okay, let's do it. So I took a first stab at wholesaling. It was low barrier to entry. I thought it was the easiest path to learning. And at the time it probably was. And immersed myself in, purchased a course, learned how to do virtual wholesaling. Since in the Philadelphia market is very, very, very competitive. So I started in the North Carolina, Charlotte area. And it was daunting at first. It was a lot of work, but I was hungry, was learning everything I could, reading books, really trying to get ahead. And I started to learn about some creative strategy as I was learning about wholesale. And it wasn't until I seen 3 or 4 specific type of strategies where it started to make sense. Now, early on, I'm still trying to actually wholesale. And slowly turned into me trying to create a wholesaling empire. And I can remember putting all my eggs in one basket, really trying to work a deal, only for it to fall right at the closing. And to the point where my wife was like, is this something that you sure that you could be good at? Is this something that you sure you want to invest your time in? Why don't you just focus on your 9 to 5? And that just really hurt me when I used to hear things like that. So eventually, the way that I discovered slow flip method was kind of synchronicity. So I learned that you can buy properties virtually because I was learning how to do virtual wholesaling. I then learned that you can find properties all throughout the country for less than $5,000. And that just blew my mind. And then I started to understand seller financing and creative financing, how you could take a property and then sell it 4 times what you got it at. And that's really how I stumbled upon the virtual wealth flipping method. A colleague of mine told me, Mike, you know, you could purchase a property with a credit card. And I was like, what? So once I kind of started to understand all of those things, I tried it. I took my wife's credit card. It was one of the scariest things I ever did in my life. And I bought a property for $8,000. It was a 3-2. This property was all the way across the country on the other side of the state. And I bought it all in for $10,000 after closing costs. And I sold it in 4 days for $45,000. I got $5,000 down, financed the remaining $40,000 over 8 years at a 7% interest rate, which came out to $545 a month. I was 118% return on my money. That was the fastest and easiest deal I ever did. It was so much easier than wholesaling. And after I did that deal, I said, forget wholesaling. I'm gonna just exhaust every financial resource I had to get as many of these as possible. And that's exactly what I did. And what's pretty cool about that first deal, the first virtual flip, is that in 2 years, I sold the note for $30,000, which was incredible. So, now fast forward to today, I've done over 80 of these. I raised over $5.5 million in private funding. I started helping other people do the same thing. I've been doing 2 to 3 deals per month consistently, earning a monthly profit of a little over $40,000. And now I'm looking to do 20 to 30 of these per month because of the strategic relationships and the things that I'm doing now. So it's pretty cool. So that's my story, from not making any money and struggling in real estate, failing at a previous business, having to go back to a 9 to 5, only to finally become financially independent, and now doing over 40K in profit in less than 2 years. Hopefully this shows you that building wealth through real estate doesn't have to be complicated. The biggest thing that I've learned is you don't need tons of money or connections. You just need to understand the numbers and be willing to take action. The virtual approach means you can literally do this from anywhere, which is pretty cool. So if this has helped you out, hit that button, subscribe for more real estate content. Drop any questions or comments that you have below. I actually read them and I try to help. Thanks for watching. Remember, anyone can do this if you're willing to learn and put in the work. Godspeed. Talk soon.